One aspect of this is that what he says now must be limited. He can't make jokes in the future, surely, about, let's say the Clinton episode was happening now. He couldn't make jokes about that because people would cringe. How can you joke about a man who's not faithful to his wife? And he was also a trusted character. You hosted the Oscars because there's an idea that he speaks for a certain type of America, maybe middle America. And now, I mean, will his career in the long term suffer?
No, I don't think so. I mean, I think, unfortunately, his actions were also actions of middle America. I mean, so many marriages end in adultery. So what he did, a lot of people are probably like, oh, I went through that, or I'm going through that, or I hope I don't go through that. I thought his whole approach to it kind of left a bad taste in my mouth. It just kind of seemed too soon to me, making such big jokes about it. And the episode where he came on after and brought on Steve Martin and Martin Short, it was almost like, we're going to distract you with such funny people that you're going to think it's really funny, and maybe in a couple hours you might realize actually it's a little sketchy.
Yeah. Although Martin Short being funny, I just don't quite understand that. So let's introduce the panel once again. Christopher Hurd, he's still author of Living Dangerously, The Life and Career of Kiefer Sutherland. Wendy Sullivan is a freelance writer and a blogger, loved by some, not by all.
No, definitely not by all.
Rick McGuinness is a very talented television and movie critic. And in Calgary, Michael Morrison, a Canadian entertainment blogger, first time on the show. I think he's doing extremely well. We mentioned Roman Polanski yesterday on the general show, but I think it's so pertinent to arts and culture that we now have the woman the girl he raped, drugged, raped, sodomized, saying, oh, let the guy go, let it, it's not for you to say, I'm afraid, even though you were the victim, the state has to play a part. Michael, in Calgary, with the Polanski case, I have to say, being held in a Swiss prison, I mean, you know, of all the... A Swiss prison?
There's chocolate on your pillow.
And they always know the time. But the man... There's a fair chance, if brought back to the United States, that in fact he wouldn't even do any more time in prison. We don't know. He'll have very good lawyers, and although you could get a prosecutor who really wants to make their name and will go for this person like anything. But Gore Vidal's comment, the media community, sorry, the celeb community saying relatively little about this, irritating to you?
No, I mean, I think it's such an old issue and such a horrific crime. If we took away the celebrity and we just heard about someone doing this to a 13-year-old girl now, it would be all over the news just like it is now. And just because he's a celebrity, I don't think we should look at it differently. I also don't think the case should be dropped because the victim's asking to be left alone. Because our insatiable taste for gossip and entertainment news and going through people's trash, because the magazines are doing that, I don't think this case should be dropped because of that. It's ridiculous.
No, you can't contravene the law. And what is, of course, interesting, at the very least, is that for all these years he has travelled across borders in Europe. Nothing has happened. This time it all changes. I suppose it's the influence of Barack Obama. Peace be upon him. Microsoft shocked that Family Guy humour includes incest and Holocaust jokes. Company pulls out of Seth MacFarlane's sponsorship deal after discovering content not a fit. Now, this is Microsoft. A lot of money, a lot of people, and Family Guy, that I've seen a lot of Family Guy, have you? You'd think that someone at Microsoft had at one point seen Family Guy before they agreed to a sponsorship deal.
You see.
Michael, I know it's banned in all of Alberta, but you probably do see bootleg copies in Calgary. I think it's a very funny show.
We watch them.
I'm sorry?
Well, we've been dealing with Ed Stelmach censoring Family Guy for years now, so it's really, we do watch it illegally online. I think it's interesting that Microsoft is doing this because the people that tend to watch, I mean, I bet we looked at the stats, the demographics happen to be Apple users or Mac users, so I'm surprised that Microsoft is trying to, again, alienate themselves further from that demographic of the people that who will buy new computers and new software every year. So, I mean, obviously there's pressure from someone that we're not hearing about for Microsoft to drop Family Guy. And I do agree. I think it's a hilarious show. It's very funny.
What I do enjoy, what I respect about Family Guy, is that actually they do make fun of all, and there's such a lot of comedy that it's, you know, they're only going to make fun of middle America or the right or faith. And Family Guy has gone after, including, and I think this is an issue we should discuss, when you say Holocaust jokes. When Jewish issues are discussed on Family Guy, I mean, there was one show that was actually pulled. I mean, it showed on some stations, but not on all. It was very pro-Jewish, but some people I suppose, a rather colour interpretation would have seen it as anti-Semitic. It wasn't. But can you make jokes about the Holocaust? An example here. Ricky Gervais. People know Ricky Gervais. I mean, he's now a beloved American low-level celebrity. The Office, the British show The Office, incredibly funny. I thought it was just seminal, wonderful stuff. He's a very talented guy.
He's hosting the Golden Globes. He's not
hosting
he's not a low-level
the
guy
Golden
anymore.
Globes. No, well, his movies haven't been that successful, but he's now very well known all over the world, including the United States of America. Heavily influenced by Jewish humour. I mean, he said Jewish comics he's one-man act. Which is very funny. He says this. He says, he talks about it's a stream of consciousness, Anne Frank, lazy. Where's the sequel?
Yeah.
Now, how could you possibly, people laugh. Is he an anti-Semite? No, he's not. That's a funny comment. Is it in bad taste? Is all humour in bad taste? Should you be allowed? Should you be allowed to make? Stop laughing, Hurt. Should you be allowed to say things like that? Last word from Michael here. I mean, the example I gave. I suppose we are self-censoring in all sorts of ways, but the Holocaust being iconic, can you make light of? Can you laugh at something which was so tragic, coming from someone like Ricky Gervais, who clearly is not unsympathetic to the victims? Is it funny? Should it be allowed?
I don't know if you could hear me, but when you said it, I laughed out loud, and then I felt really bad about it, which is, I think, the example that was given for comedy. I mean, I think at some point you have to make jokes about things. If we didn't make jokes about all the horrible things that happen in this world, we would be the most depressing society of all time. Yeah. I mean, sometimes the world sucks, and the only way to get past it is make jokes about it. Ask David Letterman.
Yeah, and obviously when it comes to Jewish humour, and this is another issue, Jewish comics have been the people who have perfected Jewish humour, and I suppose that could be the issue. Can Ricky Gervais, who is not Jewish, make such a joke, but do people laugh, and does it create more anti-Semitism? I don't think so, and I'd love to see Gervais interviewed about that, because he's someone who is very sensitive to these issues. But anyway, back in a few moments on the Michael Coren Show, unless I'm taken off the air by then. Don't go away. Halloween is about to arrive, and of course we have to be very sensitive here to the sensibilities of the Wiccan community and so on. And, you know, brooms are very expensive
Just
these days.
wish them a Happy New Year and they'll be happy.
People are complaining now that sexy costumes are the order of the day. My 19-year-old daughter, we were having lunch yesterday, and she said, you know, it's such a pain because all the girls at university, all they do, they all go down to the local sex store or whatever, and they buy these silly plastic sexy costumes. That's what they think it's Halloween, and it just becomes rather tiresome after a while. But is there anything wrong in this? Is it a sexualization of Halloween? Or do we really care? Michael, again, Halloween, so let's not make too big of a deal of this, and people dress in all sorts of ways, and sometimes it's bad taste. Generally, it's innocuous. But something else being sexualized in our culture, well, it should come as no surprise, I suppose.
Well, no, I mean, Halloween, you do kind of go to the extreme and dress however you want. But I mean, here in Calgary, we also have something called the Calgary Stampede, where girls dress like that for 2 weeks straight. So, I mean, for us, it's really just another day, I guess. So.
Really? You dress up at the Calgary Stampede?
Now, what time of year is that exactly?
It's July.
Making a note in my diary of where I'll be in July.
Just take note of that. It's 2 weeks of Halloween, essentially, only it's cowboy boots and short skirts as opposed to leggings and cat ears.
Oh, that's just terrible, honestly. I mean, what is the world coming to?
In July in Calgary, there isn't too much snow, so they can get away with wearing skimpy clothes like that.
By the way, what are you wearing Halloween? Are you dressing up on Halloween?
I'm going as the dad.
You're going as the dad? Wendy?
I'm going to be a member of the vast right-wing conspiracy.
Really? Christopher?
Don't believe in that pagan ritual.
Oh, and Michael, are you dressing up as anything?
I'm going to wear a dress and go as confused. Is that not a good one?
The problem is that may be true. And I don't. Oh, golly.
No.
Many years ago, when I wrote for Frank magazine, I mentioned wearing a Michelle Landsberg mask, but she's not really around anymore, so I can't really say anything like that. Not